Hi, welcome. So excited for this episode of the Angela Sundust show, the summer edition. And the reason why I wanted to do this summer edition is that I wanted to kind of looking forward to the future and look for the bright future that we have ahead of us. Because I think you can agree, but I think it has been kind of a roughy ride the last past kind of 2.5 years, right? And with me, I have Josefin, and she's going to present herself. For you who are watching this and meet me for the very first time, my name is Angela. I'm a virtual event sales expert, and I help my clients do virtual events. And that is one thing that we're actually going to talk about because I have Josefin with me. And Josefin, maybe you can present yourself, who you are and who you help.
Hi, Angela, and I'm so happy to be here on your show, on your summer edition show. So I'm super excited to be here. So my name is Josefin Wanner. I'm a former corporate executive who turned entrepreneur and business growth strategist. And I help kind of like what Angela does, but I help the step before there. I help my clients to create an offer that really sells. And Angela, then we have like offers that really fit each other because we start with my offer, and then when they want to scale, they move over to what you help them do to scale with events.
I love that. And I love the kind of the way that you meet people. That is the beauty with the online space, and isn't it, right? You meet people and you can help each other grow in different kinds of way. And I was a guest at your show, and it was actually Josefin that gave me the idea of doing this summer edition because I got so inspired by your show, and I told you, oh my God, I just need to do a summer edition of this and multi-stream it because it was so fun to be a guest at your show. So make sure you reach out to Josefin on LinkedIn. We're going to post the link and everything so you can check her out. How often do you stream your show? Is it every week?
It's actually, yeah, I started streaming it every week, but I also did it live. Now I'm taking it back. So I'm currently recording lots of episodes with amazing, inspiring entrepreneurs too. And I will kind of like not really do a summer edition, but I will post them on my YouTube channel. So I'm kind of currently saving up so that I can have like a more a better kickoff. Actually, it's called Josefin Meets. Yeah.
Yeah, so make sure you search for Josefin on LinkedIn because that is your platform. But today we're going to talk about kind of, I love the name that you have out in the Runway to Launch, right? We're going to talk about launching, but not so specifically about the lead generation and the launch in itself. More, how do you actually get people excited to show up live? Because what had happened during the pandemic, everyone was on Zoom, and people needed to be on Zoom, and all of a sudden the world opened up and people are sick and tired of being on Zoom. When we saw a decrease in the show up rate, especially in webinars, and we have done a lot of work to kind of fix that issue. So we're going to talk about the runway. And I wanted to ask you, because you do launching as well as we do, the live launch, kind of different kind of live launches. What is your kind of quickly process from when you decide that I'm going to run it at this date, the kind of time frame? What do you actually do between?
Yeah, so first of all, the reason why we want to have people show up live is because you also see like a higher conversion rate of the people who are actually engaged and show up live. That is the reason why you want to have the engaged people, and it increases the buzz and it makes it more fun and exciting. And because the runway that we talk about, that is a lot of work, everything that we need to do. And as you say, first you set the date, and I would actually suggest to plan out several launches throughout the whole year so that you know in advance when is my next launch going to be. In the beginning, I did launches between 6 to 8 weeks, but I'm not like you, Angela. You're like, you thrive when you do your launches. I sometimes the launches totally drain me. So I have longer periods of times between my launches. Now I do 3 to 4 launches per year, not more. That's everything that I do, but because it's so much work that we put into them, and it actually starts with a whole planning, and we also discuss the whole visibility boost before you actually start promoting your launch. That is super important, that people actually, that you invest a little bit more time. So if you look at the launch a little bit like a scale or whatever, to see that, okay, so you have your launch, the top of your launch, and you need to kind of speed up, and you have to be so on high energy, because that is also one real important thing, that you are on high energy. People don't buy what you say, or if you say the right word, or if you say an and or an or whatever. They buy based on your energy. So that is why we need, so first we start with a visibility boost, where we actually go out there. And I think you have a fantastic way that you teach your clients about the whole visibility boost, what that really is.
Yeah, I mean, what we do is that before we start the lead generation, so we decide how many weeks or days we want to do lead generation. And for an example, we are running a 3-day launch, for an example. We do lead generation for 3 weeks. But if you kind of start lead generation and just start promoting, and no one sees your post, no one is going to sign up anyway, right? So what we do is that we spend 10 days before we start the lead generation by creating amazing content, of course, but also start by go out to our dream clients' social media and their platform, on their profile, in their groups, start the communication. Because what happens is that all of a sudden you start all these kind of communications, and then you post, and you post an amazing post, and that post is going to be visible for them, because that is kind of how the algorithm works, right? And then we do that for 10 days. So we spend around maybe 1 hour per day, really focusing like 10 minutes doing this, 10 minutes doing this, and this, and this, to increase how visible our posts are. And then we start post about our workshop. So that is how we kind of do it. And what I love about it is not only the visibility, it's the laser focused on what to actually do. So we only spend time on money-making activities and not running around scrolling on TikTok on cute dogs or whatever that we do, right?
Dancing cats.
Yeah, that is me in a nutshell, right? So I learned that for myself, that it's time consuming and time wasting. So that is how we do it. Do you want to add something? Do you do something different there?
No, I think it's a perfectly put. You can actually, if you look at it on the other way around, when you stop posting, or like you do some days when you don't post, you see your engagement drop significantly, quite fast, right? So that is why you need to pull up the visibility boost. And as you say, you don't want to start posting about your workshop or pulling in people into your workshop, or inviting people into your workshop like that, because that is when we then come across as salesy, if you want to put it like that. You want to mix up your posts and the content that you're sharing with kind of like sharing resources, sharing about personal stuff, getting people to know you, who you are, because that is another piece of the puzzle, right? People buy from people. So to always, it doesn't have to be that you share private things. There is a line between private and personal, but it has to be something that is relatable, that people like. Yeah,
absolutely. Definitely. And I think the more you can kind of, like you said, plan. So let's say we plan a launch, and you create all the lead generation content. You create all the ordinary content that is going to go out up until the launch. So you can really, during your lead generation, focus on getting people excited, getting people to show up, start invite people, because that is what I call it. It's an invite to join our launches, because they have so much value, right? And you can really focus on those people and not put your energy in writing content, because I really strongly suggest that everyone that wants to do launches, make sure you create all the lead and bulk create it, so you can only post, copy and paste your content all these days. So you can kind of put your energy into people, because that is a gap, right? People are moving away from spending time with people more and more. That is where you want to lean in, not lean out, right?
Yeah.
And that is one of the reasons you mentioned. And I know when we run a lot of webinars, that is how I started out helping people do webinars. And the number one reason why people leave a webinar, lack of engagement and energy from the speaker, right? So if you drain your energy completely during your lead generation, you will be exhausted running your launch, and there will be no conversion.
Exactly. And as you said at the beginning, I have tried out several different types of launches, like the 5-day launch, the 9-day launch, the 3-day launch, doing a launch on Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday. And you have to be aware of that when you are in launch, you have to, especially when you don't have a big team. There are other people who have huge teams behind them who can do their self-care during their launches. Totally different thing, right? But when you are a small team of one or maybe maximum 2 people or 3 people, you have to be on a very high energy level for a quite long time, and that takes energy. So whatever you can prepare beforehand is super, super helpful. And not kind of overthink or overdo things. It's better done than perfect. And also if we then move from if we move from the visibility phase into the promotion phase, which sometimes are there are people who actually do them for months, who promote their launches for months.
Yeah.
But at least 2 to 3 weeks is super important, so that you actually gather a big number of people, because it's also comes down to, people say, yeah, but quality over quantity. Yes, but you also need the quantity.
Yeah.
It's not only quality, especially now when the show up rate is so low. You really need to have a bigger number of people registering for your launches. So when you are in the promotion time, you need to promote the launch. You need to promote the workshop, because if you don't promote it, if you just post about it once, no one is going to see it. No one is going to show up. And don't have to be afraid of, oh yeah, but then I come across as salesy. You're giving away something amazing for free, where you actually help people. That was one of my fears in the beginning, was because the purpose of a launch is, of course, so that you can sell to your prospects. You want to enroll them into your programs. But it's also, you're giving away so much time and energy and resources for free that in itself could actually be a paid program. And I've been very open about it from the beginning, when people said, especially in my old network, they were like, but Josefin, why do you give away things for free? Well, I didn't start out as an online coach. I was in corporate, I was in banking for 20 years. I had to build my reputation. And you build a reputation by growing your audience. And I've had people referring, people joining my launches who referred clients to me afterwards. They didn't, the person who came to my launch, she didn't register or sign up as a client, but she referred other people. That is so important, that you kind of show up and give everything you can, because you don't know who they know, right?
Exactly, the power of promosity and the power of the rings on the water. And this, for you who have followed me, you can hear that me and Josefin is on the same length here, because I always say that you want your audience to leave feeling this was the best thing they had ever signed up for. Because even if they don't buy, you will stay on top of their mind. So if they come across someone with the problem you solve, or they come across someone, they say, oh, I want to do this, and that person, I was in launch, I was in a workshop, go there. That kind of is worth everything. And I sometimes get of course, people that are so afraid, but I don't want a massive amount of people showing up and they're not going to buy. But you can't think so short term. You need to think long term, right? What can it actually give me a year from now if all these people show up, even if they don't kind of enroll the first time? And I can speak for myself. I sometimes join launches multiple times before I decide I want to work with this person, right?
Oh yeah, me too. I registered for 3 times before I signed up for one of my business mentors.
Yeah, exactly. So so I mean that is also kind of a part of the equation. But of course, there will be no sales if people don't sign up or show up, right? And a lot of people watch the replays. But do you have any tips for kind of getting people actually showing up? Because a lot of people, we register for a massive amount of stuff and we forget, right? I do. Mm-hmm. I forget. I don't show up. So let's say we do lead generation for 3 weeks, and the people that start signing up 3 weeks before the launch, do you have any tips? How can we actually kind of get them actually to show up and not forget all about our launch?
Mm-hmm. It's all about making them excited about actually joining. So it's also about, what is the result? What will they have after they have gone through, after they have done the work in the workshop, right? Because it's also like people say, yeah, but I can't promise that. Well, no, you can't if they don't take action. But you can say, if you take action, this is what you will have afterwards. There are some people who do giveaways. I have done it too. I have done Amazon vouchers, for example. I have given away, like workshops that I sell, I have given away a slot for free. So you can do different giveaways for valuable things. So you keep them, you get them to sign up, you get them to show up, to join. I don't give away anyone. I have done that too. I have given away one-to-one session, because what happens then is also you get people to meet you in person if you give away a one-to-one session. And then again, they might become a client, right? So it's like whatever works for you. I wouldn't do, I don't know. We spoke about that before. One big guru who gave away a trip to New York. That's not what we would do. Is that the audience that you want to attract? I don't know. But that is also kind of like, you want the people to join, you want the people to create a buzz, so that you want it lively. That is what you need, because that also gives you energy when you are in that situation.
Exactly. The more kind of engagement you get back from the audience, the more energy you bring, right? But it's also important that all this kind of starts with you, and you don't want to, because this is something that sometimes my clients say, it isn't enough to kind of get someone to show up and then you send a reminder a day before, okay? Because they actually, and they say, but I don't want to feel like I spam them. They said yes to join your workshop. They want more information about your workshop. Come on. So we send multiple emails. We send out resources. Let's say you have a podcast episode, a video. I could send this short video to the ones that have registered, right? Like a gift. We have a guide with 50 ways of promote your event. I give that away in an email. So they actually get some resources and get to like, know, and trust me even before the event, because the nurturing process should be about you building trust, that you know what you're talking about. You give them kind of a boost that they can do this, because you can share testimonials, for an example, before the event, where they feel like you give them hope that they can actually accomplish something and that you can do. So there's a lot of things that you can build actually before the event. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't do it. And they end up having people to see them for the very first time, day one. They pitch on day 5 and they close the cart on day 5, the same. And it's not enough time for people to process you as a person, right? Because there is so many people out there, and you want them to pick you, right? But in order for them to pick you, they need to get to know you, right?
Yeah. Another thing that we do is we invite people to connect calls, like just to get to know each other call. And that is one of the biggest. You see also there a higher conversion rate of those that actually agree to be on a connect call. You don't want to push this, but if they are open to connect with you, that is one way that you can also, where you also during that connect call, you get to understand them better. You get to understand their business or whatever, depending on what it is that you're offering, but you get to understand their problem. And then when you do your launch inside your workshop or inside your launch, you can actually refer to these problems without kind of pointing out any, like, oh, Angela said this or Josefin said that. But you can actually say, well, we have people who do virtual events. We have people who help others create offers. Like, you can refer to it in a different, personalize it in a different way.
Yeah, and that two-way communication is why live launching in all kinds of sorts are so powerful, because you can't get that two-way communication in something that is recorded, can you, right? That is why the live version is so powerful, because this is instant feedback, instant problems, instant struggles, frustrations, fear, limiting beliefs, everything that they say to you, you can actually target that and take them through that inside the launch. And that is also something that you want to catch in the kind of the runway, the where they sign up to, where the actual launch is, the feedback from them. Not only that it's about you, it's actually about them. The more information you can gather, the better the launch is going to convert, because you can really pinpoint your strategies, your journeys, your stories, your testimonials to all these limiting beliefs and all this struggles, frustration, fears, or whatever they enter with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have a workbook. Do you use a workbook as well?
Yes, I do. And in the beginning, I did the mistakes. I actually included way too much information in the workbook, meaning they didn't even need to show up to the launch to get the value. So, but I've also seen workbooks which were like an empty notebook. I don't do that. So it has to be, again, valuable, but they have to show up to your event or to your workshop to actually fill it out, because that is what gives them value too. So yeah, that's an amazing example. It doesn't have to be complicated or big and super fancy. Canva has amazing ways that you can pull a workbook together. So, and when you have one workbook, you can use the same workbook again and again and again. You just review it and update it afterwards.
Yeah. And I think it's the beauty because you run signature events as well. So we run the same event over and over. That is, of course, why we save so much time. We get to know the content. I can run my Cold to Soul workshop in my sleep if I want to. Someone could wake me up today and I could do the entire launch in my head because I have run it so many times. It's the same workbook. I maybe switch a picture because I thought, I need to do something here. I had this picture for 3 launches, time to change, right? But it doesn't require so much work when we have everything set up either. And that is also the beauty, because all that energy you put in on trying to make things so beautiful and new content, new slides, new this, every single time, that energy could actually be used with your audience. So if you kind of move away from always recreate something, because I always say when you start over, you actually go backwards before you go forwards, and take that energy with using that to have a two-way communication with the audience. It's going to increase the show up rate as well. And you're going to have way more energy in your launches, because we have all been to boring launches where it's really, really, you can almost kind of fall asleep. There is no engagement, no energy. And even worse if it's no energy and recorded, right? It's like, we have all been to that. Don't be that person.
Exactly.
And in the beginning, it can be scary, right? It can be kind of scary. But don't, like Josefin said in the beginning, don't stand in your own way here, right? Kind of move yourself out of the box.
Yeah, and also, the whole workbook thing, it's also part of the whole runway, because that also creates excitement. When they get this workbook and they see it's not just, an empty notebook, or it's just not like a one pager or whatever, but it's actually something that will give them value that they can reuse and look into and use afterwards over and over again. So I think that is super important. And as you say, don't stand in your own way. Just do it. Go out there and do it. Because the more times you do it, the more confident you will also become.
Yeah. That is, I mean, the more you run something over and over again, the better it's actually going to be. That is the only way, if you strive for anything being more and more perfect, is to actually do the same thing over and over again. I mean, no one started out being the fastest in the world, right? They actually trained to become the fastest in the world. And it's the same in our business. We need to do it over and over again to be better and better and better. It comes down to everything, especially sales and showing up, speaking, whatever. And as you can hear, my first language isn't English, and actually not Josefin's either, even if she speaks way better English than I do. And we still
do this whole thing in Swedish.
And the funny thing is that when I had a fitness business before, when I went from Swedish to English and I launched my fitness business in English, what did I do? A 5-day workshop in English. Because I thought, if I don't just do it, I'm going to procrastinate, because procrastination already knocked on my door. And I said, no, I'm just going to do it. I promoted a 5-day workshop in English and run the entire thing in English. That was what I did, right? Was it scary? Yeah. Was it perfect? Oh, no. I wish I had that recording today. It would be right. Yeah. But it's still converted. People loved it.
Yeah, because I think you showed up authentically, and they could recognize themselves in you and what you were doing. And it's also like, what they see what you're doing and what I'm doing, and then they hopefully think that if they can do it, I can do it. And that is also why I love to invite people to my show, and why I think these shows are amazing, because we get to show or kind of like share and meet so many new, inspiring, and really cool people. And you see that everyone is different, but everyone has similar struggles.
Exactly. And I love these kind of collabs where we can discuss subject that is kind of problems, frustrations, fears, whatever, among our both audiences, and reach new people, of course, but also that I can provide something of value to your audience and vice versa. And I just love it. It's, of course, when we're going to, in one of the other episodes, we're going to talk about lead generation, and doing kind of collabs is kind of a part of a long-term lead generation strategies, because it's speaking to other people's audiences. But I also love the way it's so fun and relaxed. Like I said, before we started this, I said, okay, what are we going to talk about? Because I love to go with the flow. Everyone that is in my space know that I go with the flow, and sometimes a little bit too much. So I actually took some notes. But so I mean, and I still do that with a little bit with my launches, but not too much, because it needs to be structured, and that is important. It's an important step to have a structured launch. We're going to talk about that in another episode, so don't go down freestyling an entire launch. Do you have something last you want to say about the runway, something to highlight to get people to show up?
I think we've probably said the most important pieces are to get them enthusiastic and to share your energy. And I always think it, independently if it's for the runway or if it's a post or if it's a newsletter or whatever it is, always add why you're doing this. Why are you inviting them to a workshop? Why are you sending them this newsletter? Why are you writing this post? Because if you don't tell them the why, people will make up their own opinion of it. And that might not be as flattering, or they might add additional things into it, which are not true. So independently of whatever it is that you're doing, always add your why to it. We are here today so that we get to share each other audiences, so that we get to share our energy and why we are doing what we are doing, right? So always add why you are doing things. I think that is probably key to a lot of things.
That was a nice wrap up of this, right? Because, and I think when you look at post and marketing, you can actually ask yourself your question. When I read this email, do they tell me why I should actually sign up? What is the reason why I should sign up here? And then you can go and look on your own copy and ask yourself, do I actually, when I invite people to my, let's say, workshop, do I tell them why they actually should show up? Do I? Or am I just making it all about myself? Because a lot of in our business, it's easy to end up in the pitfall of making it about ourselves. And our business isn't about us, is it? But unfortunately, we usually stand in our own way of, especially when it comes to lead generation and promoting and stuff like that, right? So I think that was a nice recap of this. And if you want to craft together an offer as a service-based entrepreneur, an offer, you go and seek up Josefin on LinkedIn, connect with her. And if you wanted to do a webinars, workshop, live launches, things like that, events, paid or free, I am the person for you. Okay. So we're going to post the links below this video. Anything you want to add before we kind of wrap up the show for today?
No, I'm just so happy that I got to be a guest on your show, Angela. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for you for showing up and be a part of this. I love your energy, and I kind of love this kind of collaborations where we get together and inspire each other. So make sure you tune in on my YouTube. We are streaming every week this show now for June, July, and August, all over my social media, and you're going to get the YouTube link right before we have wrapped this up. So stay tuned for another minute, and I will see you next week. So thank you, and bye, everybody.
Bye.